Hello and welcome to Season 3 of Beyond Borders. This is the space where we explore the harder questions, the ones that don't always fit in a headline. Each week we go deeper into the future of creativity, systems, technology and trust. Not just to make sense of where we're going, but to ask, what are we building and who are we becoming as we build it?
Hello, and welcome back to the Beyond Borders podcast. Today we're episode 5, where we talk about what we expect and also what we hope that AI will bring to 2026. As always, I'm here with my amazing co-hosts, Caroline Hammond and Sprenko. They will bring all their expertise and thoughts into this episode, where we're looking for solutions and innovations within AI for 2026. Everybody knows that there are an immense amount of AI programs nowadays, too many to choose from, too many to research. But if we remove the programs and just look at the solutions, what will we be expecting? What will we be looking for? What do we hope? And what speculations do we might have? Therefore, I want to start with Caroline because you are very busy with AI. You do your own AI research, also your own AI bot. What do you expect to see more in 2026 when it comes to AI?
Hi, Pim. Thank you. It's interesting, isn't it? Because I think that we've stepped into 2026 with AI and it already holds such a lot of tension. On the one hand, we've got rapid advancement, but then on the other hand, I think there's a quiet reckoning going on behind the scenes in lots of ways, and I'm sure we're going to get into this today. But I think 2026 will be a year of doubling down and doubling back. So, what I mean by that is we're going to see, I think, a continued race for dominance, right? Whether that's governments or whether it's the companies that sit behind these models. And we're also going to see the race towards models that can see, that can hear, that can speak, that can generate, and that can remember. But what I'm more interested in is the how behind all of that, not just the what. I'm seeing a growing call, a growing demand for relational architecture in AI so that it understands us, so that it grows with us. So systems that don't just generate better output, but hold presence, memory, and ethical grounding. That's the work I'm doing, particularly in the research that I do around trusted loops, helping us move beyond one-off queries towards intelligence systems shaped by care and continuity. I think that we're going to see a shift in public expectation. Users are going to become more discerning. The hype around AI is going to fall off a little bit. And so it's no longer enough for AI to sound smart. People are starting to ask, does it know me? Does it understand what I want? Does it see the bigger picture? And underneath that is a bigger truth that how AI evolves is still in our hands. We still have time. Does that make sense?
Yes, definitely. I'm also wondering, because you also talked about ethics, who will decide what the ethics are? Will there be the regulators? Will there be the creators of the AI or the users? How do you imagine that that will work out in 2026?
Well, at the moment, there's one word I can use to describe all of that. It's a mess. And I think that is the truth of it. And that is because, we are creating a massive system or interconnected systems here, the like of which we can't comprehend as users. Okay. And as humans, if we think about it, we're not very good with systems. We're good with small systems, but once we start to scale systems, they become what's the word? They forget us. Okay. And I think we all can identify with that when we think about healthcare systems, when we think about government, when we think about local authorities, how they're managed and how they feel very disconnected from us as they grow. And so at the moment, we've got people managing and developing these systems, developing them in ways that are historic, the way we always do things. This is how we do it. This is how we grow. This is how we scale our AI. But this is a time like no other, and it calls for unique solutions. And as I said in my bit of the intro here, I don't think it's too late, but we've got to start having these conversations. These people that are sitting behind these systems have to listen, have to hear, and have to understand what's going on with us, the user, and the AI. I hope that makes sense.
Yes, and then my first thought is just making it more unique, make it more special than the businesses that are in AI probably should be more with specialized work for their customers, for example, within the customer's cloud or within the governance cloud. Because nowadays everybody mostly uses AI within the AI system, so they subscribe or they use the web via the website of the AI supplier. But building in an AI within your own workspace, I don't see it that often yet. That's
Mm,
also going to be my question for 2026. How will that develop? Very curious about it from all sides, not just for automation and content creation, but even for as an assistant, as an extra help. How will those workspaces develop? And it's almost the same question for you, Spranko. What do you think AI will bring in 2026?
Thanks, Megan. Tim, it's interesting. Karen has covered lots of it. An additional thing I don't look forward to, I say I wouldn't be shocked happening is an introduction to relational AI.
mm,
I'm saying that because, you know, a lot more people are trying to understand themselves in ways that they haven't attempted before, whether it regards career, relationships, just knowing who they are. And as people embrace AI, even while scared, I think there's this room to try, to be curious. You know what I mean? So that's one thing that I wouldn't be shocked if we see in 2026 as regarding AI. But one thing I'm careful about, and hope that more people would prove with caution, is the behind the scenes. Who's doing what? It's not just, oh, there's this new AI tool available. You can use it for this. What can it also do for me? How can I use it? I don't want to use the word ethic, but are we using it for what we need, or just getting carried away again, like we always do? So I would hope that 2026 creates a vast playground for caution as regards AI. Curiosity, but with a lot of caution, so that we don't, fall down that slippery slope and then go another, why are we here? You know?
Yes, and do you think that AI developers should always mention the limitations of the AI where it's not meant to use for? I think lately, even the X AI or Grok has showcased some abilities that people didn't like. Currently, if I'm
Mm-hmm.
correct, they are removed. Do you think all
Mm-hmm.
AI developers should, from the start, have certain limitations or mention their limitations towards the users?
Yes, I believe there should be moderation in every aspect of whatever we do as human beings, right? The fact that they're not explicitly stated out doesn't mean we shouldn't consider them. Creators as artists, I'm sure Carolyn can, attest to this. Because you know your art can, you know, incite certain emotions, do certain things, or make people react in certain ways. You have that in mind and use that, while creating. You understand what I'm saying? So I believe they do not necessarily have to come out and say, oh, don't use it to do this or don't use it to do that. It should be part of the process. While you build, you put certain measures in place to ensure that there's no way Elon would come knock on my door and say, hey, don't tweet this, or don't post that. But if there are certain measures in place, if I attempt to do something on the app, right? X, for example, and there's measures to stop that from going up, I would be blocked out from using it. So I think is a less more about saying, hey, don't use it for this, don't use it for that. And the creators, the builders, those behind the scenes, you know, instill, measures that would just not limit but protect us, them and the users as well.
Yeah, I agree. And go ahead, Caroline.
Yeah, I just wanted to come in there and say I think that the biggest problem I think they've got at the minute is they're trying to be all things to all people. And I
Right.
guess, yeah, they've got this wide overview of AI fulfilling every gap that a human possibly has. And that covers everything, as we know, which is causing the controversy at the moment. And I think that's a massive mistake because again, like I said at the beginning, they are behaving in a way that we've always behaved. It's like throw it all in and see what happens, and it's all a mess, and then we have to deal with the fallout. Why can't we do it differently this time? And I think that in where I'm coming from with this is in becoming all things to all people, something is lost because we are not all the same. And I think AI recognizes that we are not all the same. We come to it differently. It is a master of recognizing patterns in us, and they are all different. And so to flatten AI from a developer's point of view, to flatten it and say, well, we know that humans need this, and this. And to protect us, we're going to put these guardrails in place because we know then that no lines can be crossed. That whole experience, that whole what is possible with AI becomes less than instead of more than. And actually, I think we have an amazing opportunity to have something that can actually be tailored or tailors itself to us without the need for this guardrail situation going on. And I don't think it need, let's be honest, this salacious view that's coming into AI and these opportunities to create images and whatever, it's crazy. It is crazy to think that that is acceptable, that you can take a photo of a woman or a man on a bus and put it into Grok and have the clothes removed. It's crazy. You couldn't do that in real life. Why do you expect to do that with AI? It's unacceptable to me anyway. And I accept that you two may have a different view on that. So, do we need that in AI? There's enough of that on the internet, on social media. Every form of salaciousness that you can find is there. Do we need it to be in AI? Anyway, off on a tangent, guys. I'm sorry. It's my favorite subject.
Nah, if
I'm
I could come
aware.
in there.
And I think I'm also agreeing that yeah, AI should not be able to do all things. Definitely, the Grok example is a good one. But I also think, why did they make it? Well, probably because the erotic sector is very big.
Yeah,
And now on Instagram, of course, you have all these platforms that uh, actually supply all these kinds of erotic scenes or erotic materials or erotic products. They probably see a need for an AI that could do that. But I totally agree there should be limitations, and that
mm,
maybe there should be a way of that they are sure they can only use it for themselves. That's going
yeah,
to be a very, very, very hard thing uh, because they still need to upload images or videos to make it. And they
yeah,
can upload anything without any certification. So that's going to be a very
Mm.
difficult part. For the AI, most AIs now that are public and that are seen everywhere are built for the masses because they need a lot of subscriptions or people who buy their products for their monthly cost or their monthly revenue. And many of them are also backed by investors who
yeah,
ask certain KPIs. They want goals. They need actually the goals for probably a second phase of the investment from the same investor. So they need to satisfy those investors the moment they take them on. And it's very hard for a beginning AI without funding to create it to market it, to supply to everyone, have the service, etc. So they probably need investors. Are those investors then also a part of the ethic rules? I think so,
Hmm.
because they actually push the developers to a certain degree to make the revenue scores,
Hmm.
to make the other KPIs. So
Hmm.
does that change in 2026? I don't think so, because in the US, of course, the value of businesses that are startups or the estimated value for these investments is huge, a lot bigger than in Europe. But even Europe is slowly realizing, okay, we need to bring more funds in, and we probably need to make changes for the European market. I do have the hopes that the European market will be better regulated, and I hope not too much regulated. That's also a European problem, but we'll see. What do you think, Franco?
I think it's gonna be a a problem. This is not me being negative or anything, but I think it's gonna be a challenge that we have to deal with at the end of the day. And just to piggyback off what Karen was mentioning, I wanted to get something clear. Were you saying that we shouldn't have to put guardrails because the AI should be able to prevent it from happening? Say someone wants to upload a deep fake image or whatever, it should not go ahead to execute it. That's what you mean.
That's an interesting question, Sprenko. I think there are going to be, or there should be, for me, two
Mm.
levels to this, right? There's
Mm-hmm.
system level guardrails. So there's whatever the developers decide this AI, will not cross these lines or it will cross
Yeah,
these lines. Okay. So those are system level um, guardrails,
guardrail.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that protect us all as a humanity. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And no one at the minute, and no one in life generally asks us what we want. What, what's the benchmark for us?
Mm-hmm.
Nobody asks us, they decide
Mm-hmm.
for us. Okay. So the system level, but I think what there will come to be is AI level. And so we will be working, as you hinted at the beginning, and me too, with regards to the relational AI that will
Mm-hmm.
come to the fore here.
Mm.
That AI will work with you and know your boundaries, know what you want. So even if the system level guardrails say these things can be done, your AI, your version that works with you in a collaborative way daily, will know your guardrails and you will sign up to that. You will negotiate that. You will agree that. And for me, that's where trusted loops comes in because that's the only way that it honors us as humans and gives us agency and capacity and trust because we are actually either agreeing to something or disagreeing. And I don't mean, like a social media opt-out thing where we all press accept because we just want to be let through the door of what we're trying to read or see or whatever, and we don't
Mm.
really look at the small print. There are bigger things at stake here that we need to opt into or opt out of. So for me, there'll be system level guardrails, but then there will also be things that we agree to or disagree with when working within our AI. And what I mean by that, and the reason I say that is because, let's be honest, Brenko, Pim, we change over time, don't we? I'm not the same person I was 15 years ago. My tastes have changed. The things I'm interested in have changed. So I want
Mm-hmm.
the ability with AI to say to it, okay, well, that was me then. This is not me now. I want that gone. And I want you to understand that this is the person I am now. How frustrating is it, Sprenko, on X at the moment? The algorithm decides what it shows you. It decides
Right.
what you spent time looking at and what it is. It thinks it knows you. It doesn't know you. And you have no impact on that algorithm to say, well, okay, 5 years ago, I was involved in crypto and I was doing that, but now I'm not. And I'm a writer and I want to be over here. I don't want to be locked into this X crypto bubble. But we can't do that.
Mm.
You with me? So I think for
Yeah.
AI, something needs to change, something, and I think it will. It's just going to take time and a little bit of pain for us to get there.
Yeah. 2026, not the year.
Probably not.
Oh,
The beginnings
Pim
of
is.
maybe.
Oh well.
Let's hope
Yeah.
that it
Let's hope.
begins
Let's hope.
somewhere.
Yeah.
And within your workspace, or that you're currently working in, Caroline, what kind of AI would you like to add or see being developed?
I think I would like I would like to see evidence that the developers understand the users and
Mm,
that they are moving away from this. I get what you're saying. I absolutely understand the financial pressures on them. They want to bring money in. But I think what I see happening is they are scaling too fast, which we do with everything, and they haven't got the foundations of this right yet. And so for me, I would like to see a little bit of consolidation, a bit of foundation building, a bit of throttling back, because actually what that would do would give them an opportunity to build funds. So they're not, continually ploughing cash into innovation. Now they're ploughing it into consolidation. And so I'd like to see the AIs generally becoming more human centric. So it's about us, it isn't about the AI. The shift needs to happen because actually we are the most important part in the human AI relationship because without us, it does nothing. We bring the meaning, we bring the impetus, you know. So I'd like to see that. I'd also like to see a move away from this focus on prompt engineering and because it dehumanizes again. It's like, put this and this in and you'll get this and this out. Well, hang on. There's more to this than that, and there's much more to be gained from AI than that. Does that make sense?
Yes, and I think it's a good bridge to ask Franco within the AI, within a workspace or in general to 2026, will it bring a lot of changes to the mental health sector for services, psychologists? Do you think it will be used more in 2026, or will people themselves use it more so they don't have to go or they just don't want to go. That's also a big part of it, I think, to a psychologist or to the doctor for mental health problems.
yeah, that's a good one. I think we're seeing an increasing rate of people, embracing relational AI, or I mean, having conversations with, even Chat GPT, trying to understand themselves, like I mentioned earlier, trying to, build seemingly healthy relationships, with chatbots and the likes. But I think from the professional point of view, I don't think we'll see that much of an increase or much use of, AI as regards behavioral therapy or, occupational therapy, things like that. I believe that human to human connection will always be paramount in the personal relationships. So I wouldn't be shocked if there's no large increase in the use or inclusion of AI as regards mental health. With physical therapy, maybe I wouldn't be surprised if there's an increase in that field, have more equipment for, to improve physical therapy, things like that. That would be, I think that's where there could be some good efficiency. But as regards the psychology aspect of it, I don't see much of that happening. It would be really shocking if it does.
Yeah, I'm also thinking nowadays, first people when to Google their symptoms. I think most
mm,
people now, at least the new generation, they use AI to tell them
Mm.
what symptoms they have and then what it might could be. Also, when you Google it nowadays, Gemini just gives you an AI answer on the top of your search, which is probably very similar to all the other AIs like a ChatGPT, etc. But
mm,
I think I'm wondering if it will make the job of a doctor easier or even more difficult because it probably gives more simple answers for everybody to understand than it used to do when you needed to Google articles and read it yourself and find something that is similar to your problem. Now with the
mm,
AI, you just get a whole document that says, okay, it could be this, this could be the treatment, this is how you can prevent it, this is how you don't prevent it. And then you go to the doctor and you say, I think it's this. And my AI actually helped me and convinced me it is
mm.
this.
This.
And
Yeah.
therefore, I am wondering if that will go easier. Even small symptoms will be used for AI. So that's a big
Mm,
challenge, I think, as well for AI in that regards. But I'm also really focusing on what will change in general when we are all from the art space, we're very familiar with art, which is a total different side of AI than going to a doctor. But how will that change? Will people eventually just only use AI? Will they use more sophisticated AI for AI films? So even the film industry, will they use bigger AI programs to actually make a film or help with a film? Have you ever played with AI film, Caroline?
I have, yes. And I think AI film is, and I know this is going to be unpopular with many, but I think it's on the edge of something quite remarkable, not just because of what it can render visually, but because of what it disrupts. Traditional film, it relies on layers of access, funding, networks, gatekeeping, and AI removes some of those layers. And that's triggering, that's challenging for many with vested interests in industry. So whether that's film, whether it's art, or whatever it is, whether it's health even, it moves vested interests. People fear it because their, perceived authority or funding or whatever is being challenges. So we're in a situation, aren't we, where suddenly anyone with a vision and a voice can bring it to life. And how powerful is that? But it's also confronting. But you know what? Here's the catch here. Tools don't replace the soul. An AI film will only connect if there's something human in the loop. Story, pacing, texture, emotion. That's where we still matter. So AI, just like art and film, will grow, but it will only move us as humans if it remembers what it means to feel. And that's the thread that runs through it all for me. We cannot be replaced. It's lovely, it's exciting, it's shiny, and it's new, but we will always come back to looking for meaning.
I completely agree. And I think it's a very important thing to say that even in 2026, we will not be replaced by an AI. There's still
Exactly.
almost 8 billion people now on this planet. We will not be replaced by 8 billion AI robots. But also
No.
wondering, Sprenko, do you think that an AI film can persuade the same strength of a message that a normal film could do?
yes and no. So the thing is, at the moment, if you watch an AI film, there's this reservation with being moved, being carried along, even because you know that it's AI. Character is AI or the acting is AI, something is AI, and there's this reservation. So I feel like no matter how good it gets, uh, some part of us would just be reserved with knowing that it's sort of representation of an emotion is not actually being felt by an individual. And that could be just the only thing that limits, AI films. I may be wrong in a few hundred years, but that's what I feel at the moment. And I think maybe not for a lot of people, but there will still be a select few who will be like, nah, it's not the same. I want real actors. I want people that I recognize. I want people that I can, not just the lookalikes and just characters.
Yes, and with that, we will slowly end this episode. And I think one of the important messages is that we will not be replaced. There will be many innovations, also many questions in regards why an AI is built and how it is built. Will there be limitations? Will there be guidelines? And will there will be regulations? Thank you again, as always, Caroline and Spranko, for your insights and lovely voices. And we'll see you on the next episode. Bye bye.